Okay, good morning everybody, it's Mike, and thanks for joining me this morning. We're carrying through a conversation this week about, do you worry about money? I think a lot of us do. Do you ever have that 3 a.m. wake-up call where you lay there in bed and you're worrying about money and you're adding up your bills and you're adding up your income and they're not matching out? Does it ever cause you some anxiety and worry and maybe some fear? I want to talk to you about that this week. You know, we started it off on Monday with the series, and we're talking about the Pareto principle. Many of you know it as the 80-20 rule, where 20% of the agents generate 80% of the commission income. It's actually true. 20% of your efforts generate 80% of your income. And the Pareto principle actually is carried forward into another level. Of that top 20% that's making 80% of the commission income, the top 20% of that 20% is making 96% of the commission income. This is all isolated at the very top. And I know a lot of us are worried about money, and it causes fear and anxiety, and I want to help minimize that in your life. Here's the truth though, you're never going to get away from it. You're never going to get away from it. We just want to minimize it by getting you into that top 20%. And maybe you say you think you're already there. Well, that's great. Can we get you into the top 20% of the 20%? Can we get you into that top 4% of income earners in this industry across the country? We talked about on Monday that the difference is usually very, very small. Like, for example, in the Kentucky Derby, the winning horse will often win by a nose, by an inch or two. But that winning horse will make 10 times more money than the second place horse. 10 times more money. They're not 10 times faster. They're not even twice as fast. They're an inch faster. And that inch makes all the difference. And yesterday, we carried that further with, one of my favorite sayings, which is tiny hinges swing big doors. And by that I mean that it's the little things we do consistently every day that carry us through to success. And this will help minimize the time you spend worrying about money and the intensity to which that's impacting your life. It's not the big thing. I know so many of us are trying to come up with the big idea. So we spend a lot of time on logos and slogans and branding, that they like to call it, right? But it's not big things. Your slogan isn't going to cause an avalanche of buyers and sellers to contact you. It's not. And any one ad or marketing thing or phone call, whatever you want to call it, so many people are searching for the magic script, the magic ad. This is what's going to do it. I made this video and this video is going to cause an avalanche. And none of that's true. My 3 decades in Atlanta real estate have taught me that none of that's true. No single thing that you're going to do is the answer. It's the culmination of all the little things that you do consistently. Now today I want to talk to you about something just a tad bit different. I want to offer you a different observation. And that's that after 3 decades in this business, is that to move into the top 20%, which I think is where so many of us want to be. Or maybe for you, it's to move into the top 20% of the 20%. Where you'll no longer be worried about money. We simply need to start running our business. And here's my observation for today, folks. Here's all you need to do. You simply need to start running your business like a business and less like a hobby. And I know that's an inconvenient truth for many of us. Many of us that come to work when we feel like it, don't come to work at all, go home when we get bored or tired, or we have something to do in our personal life. Who runs a business like that? Some of us have conflict in our lives. Maybe we're parents and this new school schedule that kids are on these days where they have so many breaks, and that causes conflict in our lives, and we haven't worked out how to handle it, so we just work the school calendar and we stay home with the kids when they're out for winter break. Only real estate agents do that. Everybody else has to go to work, and they have to figure out how they're going to resolve that conflict. Start running our business like a business and a lot less like a hobby if you want to move into the top 20%. And that would mean several things, and I've kind of jotted them down here. I want to share them with you. If you want to start running your business like a business so that you can move into that top 20% and experience the income that you want and need to support the lifestyle that you've chosen and feel a lot less anxiety, then that would mean, number one, we're going to need a written weekly schedule that accounts for all waking hours and includes all activities. And this is in my business and in my personal life. You can't find me, a highly productive professional who doesn't have a written weekly schedule. And you are not going to move into the top 20% or stay there if you don't. Number two, we make our business a high priority. Wow. Yeah, it's right up there in your top 3. It needs to be if you want to move into that 20% that's making 80% of the commission dollars. Can you imagine think about this for a second, your favorite restaurant. Just think about where you would go to dinner tonight if you could, and you show up and the restaurant's closed. And you go, well, why is the restaurant closed on a Wednesday night for dinner? Oh, well, the owner's son had a soccer game, so we closed the restaurant. Now, I know that's laughable, that you can't imagine that happening, but how many times does that happen in our real estate business? Well, sorry, this in my personal life always comes up, not occasionally, and I shut my business down when it does. That's fine. I guess you get to choose that, but you're not going to move into the top 20%. So you need to start making adjustments in your lifestyle. Number 3, we're willing to move into that top 20%. I need to be willing to learn new skills and grow new muscles. It's a business of the willing, folks. You know, for me, I'm 57 years old. So a lot of the new stuff that comes out is uncomfortable for me. I didn't grow up with a computer in front of me. I didn't. And smartphones have been out for 13, 14 years now. So they're still relatively a new tool. But I have to be willing, if I'm going to compete in today's economy, I have to be willing to learn new skills. I can't groan and complain about it all the time. And I have to be willing to develop new muscles because the world keeps changing on us. And I fully believe that this business that we're in together, it's a business of the willing. Who's willing to learn and adapt and who's not. And those that make it into the top 20%, excuse me, those that make it into the top 20%, definitely those that make it into the top 4 are the willing. My next observation, we become comfortable with being uncomfortable. There's things that you're going to be asked to do to market yourself, to grow your business, and you're not going to like it. And it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. And to that I say, that's fine. You just need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. If you're not, you're going to find it hard to compete in today's environment. And my last observation that I have down here, always, if we're going to move into the top 20%, we have got to always be investing in ourselves. And investing in yourselves means learning and growing and challenges, new concepts, new ways of doing things. And folks, I just can't emphasize this enough to you. The best investment you're ever going to make is not in Wall Street. Can't you see that over the past week? A bunch of wackadoodles. The best investment you can make is in yourself. Are you constantly investing in yourself? I want to encourage you this morning. I'm going to have a program at 10:30 today, and we're going to go for about 60 to 75 minutes. And we're going to dive into a 10-step strategy that if you implement these 10 steps in your business, you will absolutely move into the top 20%. And for those of you that are already in the top 20%, good for you. But if you'll make sure that you're doing all 10 of these things too, you'll move into the top 4%. And this is Mike, and I'm hoping that you'll go out there and make it happen for yourself today.